Hello everyone, welcome back to Appreciating Poetry. Today we are going to study about a type of poetry called Villanelle. Etymologically, Villanelle is derived from the Italian word villano. Etymologically means the origin of the word Villanelle is from the Italian word villano, which means rural, rustic and peasant. Rural, rustic and peasant means it is related with the village, farm life, country life, etc. The term was originally used as a term to refer to pastoral poetry. Pastoral poetry means pastoral is a work of literature portraying an idealized version of country life. In Malayalam, you might have heard about the work called Ramanan. Ramanan is an example of pastoral poetry, a work of literature which tells about an idealized version of country life, a glorified version of country life. So, who is the originator of Villanelle, or who defined the features of Villanelle? Jean Pastoral, a 16th century French poet, is generally credited with defining the specific characteristics of Villanelle. Remember the name? Jean Pastoral, a 16th century French poet. Then what are the characteristic features of Villanelle? Villanelle is made up of 5 3-line stanzas. 3-line stanzas are called tercets, and then a quatrain which consists of 4 lines. See, Villanelle is consisted of 5 3-line stanzas called tercets and a quatrain which consists of 4 lines. Let us see the structure of. See, this is a Villanelle poem. This is the structure of it. 5 3-line stanzas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then a quatrain. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the structure of a Villanelle. That is 5 3-line stanzas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then a quatrain. Then one distinguishing quality of Villanelle is the presence of refrain. Refrain means repetition of certain lines over and over again. In Malayalam we say pallavi. See, the first and third lines of first tercet recur alternatively in the following stanzas and form a final couplet. See, you can see it here. The first and the third line repeats. This is the first line, the third line repeats over and over again. See, here the first line repeated, and here the third line repeated. Again here the first line repeated, here the third line. Then finally the both together repeated in a couplet. So this is the structure of Villanelle. So though Villanelle is of French origin, English poets like Oscar Wilde and W.H. Auden have used it. So that is about Villanelle, and you have this particular poem, Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas, prescribed in your syllabus. You will study this particular poem in your syllabus. Now we will move on to dramatic monologue. Dramatic monologue is another type of poem. It's a type of poem in which a single speaker speaks to an imagined listener at a critical moment in his life, revealing to the readers his character, temperament and intentions. Usually in a poem, the I or the I element is usually the poet, but in case of dramatic monologue, the I element is a character. A character speaks about himself, his situation in his life, to an imaginary listener. A poetic form common in folk ballads, it was perfected by Robert Browning by bringing in subtlety of characterization and complexity of situation. So it was Robert Browning who revived it and perfected this particular form. And he brought a subtlety. Subtlety means a careful and delicate nature of it. A careful and delicate crafting of characterization and the complexity of situation in which that character is placed. These are the features of a dramatic monologue. So it is a type of poem in which a single character speaks to an imagined listener at a critical moment in his life, revealing to the readers his character, temperament, and intentions, objectives, aims. And The Wanderer and the Seafarer are dramatic monologues written in the Old English period. Robert Browning's My Last Duchess is a very famous dramatic monologue. You might have studied it, and I think My Last Duchess is prescribed in your syllabus. Then about elegy as well. Elegy is a poem that laments the death of a person with an intense reflection on the broader theme of human mortality. In Malayalam we say Vilapagavyam, that is elegy, a poem which laments the death of a person with an intense reflection on the broader theme of human mortality. See, the poem will be starting with the death of reflecting the death of a person, but it will move on to the broader theme, much deeper theme of human mortality. It is derived from the Greek word elegus, means a song of bereavement. Bereavement means death of someone so close, sung with a flute. A traditional elegy is written in elegiac meter, a meter usually used for writing elegy. Alternating lines, here is a spelling mistake, alternating lines of dactylic hexameter and pentameter. These are some meters used for writing poetry. A dactyl is a poetic foot of 3 syllables. So these are the meters, elegiac meter, particular features of elegiac meter in which elegy is written. A pastoral elegy is a subdivision of elegy. It is a distinct kind of elegy in a pastoral setting, in a country setting, in the setting of a village, with characters who are shepherds. So pastoral elegy is a sub-genre of elegy which is set in a village, which is set in the background of farm life, in which characters are shepherds. It begins with an invocation, calling up, invocation to the muse. Muse is a fairy of poetry. Muse contains elaborate description of nature and ends with the acceptance of the inevitability of death. So it will be full of elaborate descriptions of nature and will be accepting the inevitability, the unavoidability of death. Death cannot be avoided. In English literature, since the 16th century, an elegy meant any poem of lamentation. written in any meter. So first of all, in the early periods, it was written in elegiac meter, but after 16th century, any poem of lamentation written in any meter is considered as an elegy. A very famous example is the poem Elegy written in a country churchyard by Thomas Gray. So we will stop with satire. Satire is a very famous and very popular genre of poetry. It is a type of literature type of literature that censures. Censures means that expresses expresses severe disapproval of or criticizes the human follies, human mistakes, weaknesses and vices. And irony and sarcasm are hallmarks here means identifying features of satire. Irony and sarcasm, ridiculing something. Irony means saying something by saying the opposite of it. So these are some of the features of satire. Any satire is subversive in nature. Subversive means seeking to destroy the established system. It is against the system. It wants to destroy something that is established. It has also a corrective function leading to social reform. Satire is written with the function to change the social system. It tries to bring about social reform. There are mainly two kinds of satire: Horatian satire and Juvenalian satire. Named after the Roman satirist Horace. Horatian satire is gentle, humorous and light-hearted, while Juvenalian satire, named after the Roman satirist Juvenal, is abrasive. Abrasive means rough, scornful, expressing contempt, and they are sharp in their nature. So satire is a form of literature or form of poetry which criticizes the human mistakes, follies, weaknesses, etc. So the purpose is social reform, and there are two kinds, Horatian and Juvenalian. Horatian satire is gentle, humorous and light-hearted, while Roman Juvenalian satire is quite rough and expressing contempt. So we are stopping here. We will continue later. Thank you.